Hello viewers, in our previous lesson we discussed the general overview of arbitration and the law governing arbitration in India. Today we are going to take up the topic basic concepts of arbitration and arbitration agreement. The objectives of this lesson are to understand the basic concepts and terms under arbitration, to discuss the applicability of Part 1 of Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, to study the essentials of arbitration agreement, to understand the important criteria in drafting an arbitration clause and arbitration agreement. In our previous lesson, we have studied that Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 governs arbitration in India. The Act was amended by Arbitration and Conciliation Amendment Act 2015, which was passed on 31/12/2015. The Amendment Act shall be deemed to have come into force from the date of passing of ordinance, that is from 23/10/2015, and it shall apply prospectively to arbitral proceedings commenced on or after that date. Basic concepts and terms under arbitration. Before dwelling into the subject, it is essential to have a clear understanding of certain important terms and concepts which we frequently come across in arbitration. Arbitrator. The term arbitrator is not defined in the Act of 1996. According to Black's Law Dictionary, arbitrator is a private, disinterested person chosen by the parties to a disputed question for the purpose of hearing their contention and giving judgment between them, to whose decision or award the litigants submit themselves either voluntarily or in some cases compulsorily by order of court. Arbitration. We have already discussed about the concept of arbitration in detail in our previous lesson. According to section 2, subclause 1, subclause A of the Act, arbitration includes both institutional arbitration and ad hoc arbitration. Arbitration agreement. According to section 2, subclause 1, subclause B of the Act, arbitration agreement means an agreement referred to in section 7. We would be discussing about the arbitration agreement in detail in later part of this lesson. Arbitral tribunal. According to section 2, subclause 1, subclause D of the Act, arbitral tribunal means sole arbitrator or a panel of arbitrators. It can be understood that arbitral tribunal is a panel of one or more adjudicators which is convened to resolve the dispute by way of arbitration. Arbitral award. The Act does not give a clear definition of arbitral award. It only states in section 2, subclause 1, subclause C that arbitral award includes interim award. In fact, award means a binding decision made by an arbitral tribunal on the substance of the dispute, submitted to it in an arbitration proceeding. It also includes interim award, which is generally passed by the tribunal during the pendency of the arbitral proceedings in order to preserve the rights of the parties or subject matter of the dispute. Court. There is a reference to court in the Act at several places, and according to section 2, subclause 1, subclause E, subclause 1, in case of domestic arbitration, court refers to the principal civil court of original jurisdiction of that place. Further, if the dispute has to be resolved in presidency towns like Bombay, Madras, Calcutta or New Delhi, the reference to court is to the appropriate high court as it has original civil jurisdiction. The Amendment Act of 2015 has introduced a separate definition of court for international commercial arbitration by way of Section 2, Subclause 1, Subclause E, Subclause 2. According to it, in case of international commercial arbitration, only the High Court in exercise of its original civil jurisdiction or a High Court having appellate jurisdiction with respect to subject matter of arbitration would be the relevant court. This amendment is aimed at solving the problem of conflict of jurisdiction that would arise in cases where interim measures are sought in India for arbitrations seated outside India. It also provides convenience to foreign parties as they do not need to litigate in remote areas of the country. Domestic arbitration. The Act of 1996 has not defined the term domestic arbitration, and it can be understood that any arbitration which is not an international commercial arbitration is a domestic arbitration. Hence, arbitration in which the parties are Indians can be said to be a domestic arbitration. International commercial arbitration. According to Section 2, Subclause 1, Subclause F of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996, international commercial arbitration means an arbitration relating to disputes arising out of legal relationships, whether contractual or not, considered as commercial under the law in force in India, and where at least one of the parties is an individual who is a national of or habitually resident in any country other than India, or a body corporate which is incorporated in any country other than India, or an association or body of individuals whose central management and control is exercised in any country other than India, or the government of a foreign country. We would be dealing with international commercial arbitration in detail in a separate lesson. Applicability of Part 1 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. The Part 1 of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996 contains sections 1 to 43 relating to the arbitration agreement, interim measures by court, appointment of arbitrators, conduct of the arbitration proceedings, recourse against arbitral award, and enforcement of domestic awards. Section 2, Subclause 2 of the Act states that this part shall apply where the place of arbitration is in India. Therefore, according to this section, Part 1 of the Act is applicable to both domestic and international commercial arbitration held in India. Further, as per Section 2, Subclause 7, an arbitral award made under Part 1 of the Act shall be considered as a domestic award. Earlier, there was a lot of conflicting opinion of courts regarding the application of Part 1 of the Act to arbitrations which take place outside India. In the landmark decision of Bhatia International versus Bulk Trading SA, Supreme Court held that the provisions of Part 1 of the Act apply to all arbitrations, including international commercial arbitrations seated outside India, unless the parties have expressly or impliedly excluded its application. This rationale was followed in subsequent cases of Venture Global Engineering versus Satyam Computer Services Limited, Inditel Technical Services Private Limited versus W.S. Atkins, Citation Infowares Limited versus Equinox Corporation, DOSCO India Private Limited versus Doosan Infrastructure Company Limited, Videocon Industries Limited versus Union of India. Therefore, Indian courts were competent to provide interim relief, appoint arbitrators, and set aside arbitral awards even if arbitration was conducted outside India, unless Part 1 was expressly or impliedly excluded by the parties in their agreement. But this approach of Supreme Court was criticized by scholars and arbitration experts globally, as it increased court intervention, allowed parties to delay the proceedings in international commercial arbitration, and defeated its purpose. Finally, this conflict was resolved by the Supreme Court in a larger bench decision in Bharat Aluminium Company versus Kaiser Aluminium, which is popularly known as Balco case. Here, the court has overruled the decision in Bhatia International case and held that Part 1 of the Act would have no application to international commercial arbitration held outside India, and that such awards would only be subjected to the jurisdiction of the Indian courts when the same are sought to be enforced in India under Part 2 of the Act. The court also held that in a foreign seated international commercial arbitration, no application for interim relief can be made under Section 9 or any other provision. The Balco judgment was given prospective effect and applied to arbitration agreements executed after the date of judgment, that is, after 6/9/2012. Even though this judgment was much appreciated, but an efficacious remedy was not available to the parties in cases where the assets were located in India and interim relief was needed to protect the same. Lastly, by way of amendment of 2015, a middle way has been adopted by the legislature in respect of applicability of Part 1 of the Act. A proviso has been added to Section 2, subclause 2, stating that provisions relating to interim measures by court under Section 9, court assistance in taking evidence under Section 27, and appeals from orders under Section 37(1)(a) and Section 37, clause 3 shall also apply to international commercial arbitration, even if the place of arbitration is outside India, unless the same is excluded by the parties in their agreement. This ensures that the Indian courts can exercise jurisdiction in suitable situations with respect to the above provisions, even where the seat of arbitration is outside India. Now, we will move to the second part of this lesson dealing with arbitration agreement. Meaning and definition of arbitration agreement. The arbitration agreement is a foundation stone on which the entire arbitration process is based. An arbitration agreement confers a mandate upon the arbitral tribunal to decide disputes coming within the scope of the agreement. The existence of a valid arbitration agreement between the parties is a condition precedent for reference to arbitration. According to Russell, an arbitration agreement is a contractual undertaking by two or more parties to resolve a dispute by process of arbitration, even if the disputes themselves are not based on contractual obligations. Arbitration agreement under Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. The Section 7 of the Act deals with arbitration agreement and lays down the requisites of a valid agreement under the Act. According to Section 7, subclause 1 of the Act, arbitration agreement means an agreement by the parties to submit to arbitration all or certain disputes which have arisen or which may arise between them in respect of a defined legal relationship, whether contractual or not. Here, legal relationship means relationship which creates rights and duties between the parties that may either arise out of contract or otherwise. Under a contract, the legal relationship of parties is defined. For instance, in a sale deed, a party is identified as vendor or vendee from the contract of sale, whereas issues like infringement of intellectual property rights, which are connected to trade, commerce and industry, can be categorized as non-contractual and commercial, and issues arising out of family relations and marriage like partition, quantum of maintenance, etc., can be categorized as non-contractual and non-commercial. The non-contractual relationship generally arises out of a statutory obligation. Further, it can be observed that the arbitration agreement is a contingent contract and can be entered into at any stage, like at the time of entering into the contract, in anticipation of a dispute, or when the dispute actually arises, or when the dispute is taken to a court of law. The Supreme Court in P. Anand Gajapati Raju versus P. V. Gajapati Raju held that even at the appellate stage, the parties can prefer to settle the dispute by arbitration. The parties are also at liberty to restrict reference of only certain disputes to arbitration. According to section 7 subclause 2, an arbitration agreement may be in the form of an arbitration clause in a contract or in the form of a separate agreement. According to section 7 subclause 3, an arbitration agreement shall be in writing, and as per section 7 subclause 4, an agreement is considered to be in writing if it is contained in a document signed by the parties, or an exchange of letters, telex, telegrams or other means of telecommunication, including communication through electronic means, which provide a record of the agreement, or an exchange of statement of claim and defense, in which the existence of agreement is alleged by one party and not denied by the other party. The amendment of 2015 has included the words communication through electronic means as a mode of written agreement. Therefore, an exchange of emails, text messages or other electronic communications would also constitute an agreement in writing. This amendment aligns the Act with the judicial position established in Shakti Bhog Foods Limited versus Kola Shipping Limited and Trimex International FZE Limited versus Vedanta Aluminium Limited, wherein the Supreme Court held that electronic communication would constitute an agreement in writing under section 7 of the Act. Here, it is important to note that arbitration agreement can never be oral. Further, according to section 7 subclause 5 of the Act, the reference in a contract to a document containing an arbitration clause constitutes an arbitration agreement if the contract is in writing and the reference is such as to make that arbitration clause part of the contract. As such, instead of making an arbitration agreement, the parties may include reference to any other document containing an arbitration agreement. In MV Baltic versus State Trading Corporation, the Supreme Court, deciding the issue of incorporation of arbitration clause in charter party agreement by reference in a bill of lading, held that if on construction of the arbitration clause of the charter party agreement as incorporated in the bill of lading, it does not lead to inconsistency or insensibility or absurdity, then effect should be given to the intention of the parties, and the arbitration clause as agreed should be made binding on the parties to the bill of lading. Apart from this, arbitration agreement shall also satisfy all the legal requirements of a valid contract enshrined under the Indian Contract Act 1872. The parties must have legal capacity to enter into contract. It must be with free mutual consent of the parties. The subject of the contract shall be lawful and the agreement shall not be uncertain. As such, a minor, person of unsound mind, insolvent person cannot enter into an arbitration agreement, whereas artificial persons like companies, associations, societies can enter into arbitration agreement subject to the memorandum of association, articles of association and bylaws. In case of government contract, it must be executed as per Article 299 of Constitution of India, and any violation of the said provision automatically invalidates the contract. Now, let us examine the essentials of arbitration agreement. The Supreme Court in KK Modi versus KN Modi, Bihar State Mineral Development Corporation versus Encon Builders, Jagadish Chandar versus Ramesh Chandar has laid down the essential ingredients of arbitration agreement, which may be summarized as follows. The agreement must be legally valid under applicable law. Defined legal relationship, whether contractual or not, must exist between the parties. Agreement must be in writing. It must clearly reflect the intention of the parties for settlement of present or future disputes through arbitration. Arbitration shall not be an optional but a mandatory recourse for settlement. The subject matter of the dispute must be capable of settlement by arbitration. The substantive rights of parties must be determined by arbitral tribunal. The parties must be bound by the decision of the arbitral tribunal. It may be in the form of a clause or a separate agreement or reference made to arbitration clause in another agreement. Separability of arbitration clause. The arbitration clause is separable and distinct from other clauses of the contract. According to section 16, subclause 1, subclause A and B of the Act, an arbitration clause which forms part of a contract shall be treated as an agreement independent of other terms of the contract, and a decision by the arbitral tribunal that the contract is null and void shall not entail ipso jure the invalidity of the arbitration clause. In Messrs. SMS Tea Estates Private Limited versus Messrs. Chandmari Tea Company Private Limited, the Supreme Court held that an arbitration clause is an agreement independent of other terms of the contract. Even if the contract or its performance is terminated or comes to an end, the arbitration agreement would survive for the purpose of resolution of disputes arising under or in connection with the contract. Therefore, the arbitration clause survives the termination of the substantive agreement by virtue of doctrine of separability. Important criteria in drafting arbitration agreement and arbitration clause. Arbitration agreement. Let us discuss the important aspects which the parties shall consider while drafting an arbitration agreement in order to avoid future complications and hassles. Agreement should expressly mention that the dispute would be referred to arbitration for a final and binding disposition. It should be mentioned whether the parties would resort to ad hoc or institutional arbitration, and also mention the specific institution which should govern the arbitration. The agreement must be broadly drafted and shall relate only to subjects which can be settled through arbitration. The number of arbitrators to be appointed, process of appointment if any, and the required qualifications or special skills shall be mentioned. The substantive law applicable to the underlying contract and related disputes must be clearly specified, which is an important aspect especially in international arbitration. the arbitral seat is the place where the arbitral award will be formally made, and the arbitral proceedings are governed by the laws of the country where the arbitral seat is located. Hence, the place or seat of arbitration must be clearly designated in the agreement. In case of institutional arbitration, the arbitral rules of the institution would apply by default. But in case of ad hoc arbitration, parties can specify rules regarding the institutional arbitration, interim reliefs, proceedings, etc. Further, the parties can also specify the choice of language, currency of payment of the award, details of costs, etc. in their arbitration agreement to avoid confusion. Arbitration clause. The parties can incorporate an arbitration clause in their substantive agreement itself, instead of executing a separate arbitration agreement. An arbitration clause must be precise and short. It shall avoid ambiguities, internal inconsistencies, gaps, and shall clearly specify the intention of the parties to arbitrate. If the parties prefer institutional arbitration, they can incorporate the model clause recommended by the arbitral institution in their agreement. Even in case of drafting ad hoc arbitration clause, the model clause would serve as a reliable guideline. For example, the model clause of Indian Council of Arbitration states that any dispute or difference whatsoever arising between the parties out of or relating to the construction, meaning, scope, operation or effect of this contract, or the validity or the breach thereof shall be settled by arbitration in accordance with the rules of domestic commercial arbitration or international commercial arbitration of the Indian Council of Arbitration, and the award made in pursuance thereof shall be binding on the parties. We can observe that the model clause is broadly drafted and specifies that the rules of institution are applicable to arbitration. Apart from this, the parties are also required to specify the place of arbitration, number of arbitrators, and the applicable law in order to avoid conflicts at a later stage. Viewers, in this lesson we have understood the basic concepts under arbitration, analyzed the requisites and essentials of arbitration agreement, and studied how to draft an effective arbitration agreement and arbitration clause. Hope you enjoyed this lesson. See you in the next lesson. Thank you.